accelerating for the line. Patrick Seddon and a couple of others collided. Seddon is back in the field, and we've lost Dennis Althoff. He didn't get underway when first they went out to race. They had some sort of electrical trouble under the bonnet. So let's see if Sorrel van der Merwe can get the jump on them once again. Terry Moss is right under his back wing on his right-hand side of that left-hand drive car is Chris Aberdeen. He's number 2. You can see it where the headlight normally is. Behind him, he's got Robbie Smith, and behind Terry Moss, we've got Ben Morganroot. There's Willie Hepburn, the big Sabat Opal. There's George Bezuidenhout. He's having it out there with Dave Repsol, but Steve Wyndham's back in this race. He went out of the last one and they accelerated, and Van der Merwe's done it again. It's an action replay of the first race. Moss is not quite that close. He gets into second. Morganroot still in 5th spot as they go down through these corners at Sorrel, through there very quickly. Then it's Terry Moss. It is Moss. It is Chris Aberdeen. Then we've got Ben Morganroot. Robbie Smith comes through, and they are absolutely flying through Nasher. Willie Hepburn is next, and it looks like it's Peter Lindenberg. It is, in that big Gestetner Opel. Just behind him, we've got Dave Repsol, George Bezuidenhout in the C-Class cars, Repsol in the Toyota, and Bezuidenhout in the Nissan. Heavy onto the brakes there for the Goodyear curve, for that 90-degree corner. There's Lindenberg second in Class B. It's Van der Merwe, and Moss is really staying up close. He's got that turbocharger turned right up. Aberdeen following in 3rd position at the moment. And then it is Ben Morgan who's screaming around here, sounding like a V12 Ferrari. That car absolutely screams its head off here. 4-rotor engine, pretty unique in the world. Only 7 engines made in the world. And Ben Morgan who's racing with one now. Here's another man that's gone off. 83, that's Gerber. He's come up from Uitenhage. This is his 2nd race that he's had in Wesbank Modifieds. As Marshall's always very quick on the ball here at Kyalami. Pull those tyres off the road, which seem to be a bit of a hazard. If you do go off the road, you hit them very hard with those mud guards. But Moss is staying right in there and keeping Van der Merwe in sight. And Aberdeen is coming along as well. Probably got the best seat in the stadium at the moment. It's Sorrel van der Merwe, and those Audis are staying right with that 6-litre V8. Here they come. He's 1 car length behind him as they come past us here. Ben is starting to close on them too. And then we've got Robbie Smith, Willie Hepburn leading Class B. That's the V8 class now, as it's turning out to be. Lindenberg's in there as well. Hepburn's already got 5 seconds on him. And then we have got the Class C cars. Repsol with Wyndham has moved up. Wyndham has come right up through the field. So that's you up to date as we watch the leader, Sorrel van der Merwe. And Terry Moss is hanging right in there. So is Chris Aberdeen. And here comes Ben Morganroot, the man who punctured in the first race before going off. They found a rivet in his tyre. He punctured, the wheel went down, and he was off on the total curve, spinning into the kiddie sand at the side of the circuit. Here's Robbie Smith very much in the picture, but Willie Hepburn pressing on in that big, throbbing, thundering V8 Sabat Opel of his, and he really gives a great performance here for his many fans around the circuit.
Yes, and Terry Moss, although he's trying very hard, you can see the Cecil Ford Mustang of Sorrel van der Merwe, really very powerful, very quick, and the experienced Sorrel van der Merwe just holding them off and looking very comfortable while doing it. But Terry Moss is fighting back, and so is Aberdeen. Terry Moss, the fighter. Aberdeen, very smooth indeed as they come down through Aveline sweep towards AA Bowl, into AA Bowl. You can see the Audi of Terry Moss closing up. He takes a wider line. He changes the apex of the corner, so he gets a quicker run out. You can actually see him on acceleration. He comes up closer to Sorrel van der Merwe. And there's Aberdeen next through as they come out of AA sweep towards Gestetner. Cecil Ford Sapphire, tighter line, very defensive is Sorrel at this stage. He knows he's got the power, and he's certainly holding them off. You see in the straight line, he turns on the power. Terry Moss in the Rothmans Audi tries to come up next to him, decides to get back in his slipstream as they come down towards total. Through they come, 2 of a second between the leader, Sorrel van der Merwe, and Terry Moss. They're coming up to take one of the slow. It looks like, is it Mini? He sees them coming. He indicates he's going to the left-hand side as they come into Nashner. Around the outside go the quicker men, and it's Sorrel van der Merwe once again pulling that gap as he comes out of Nashner corner. This very quick V8, this Ford Mustang, all the way brought in from America, certainly showing just how good it is. A lot of power. There's the Rothmans Audi of Aberdeen in 3rd place, and Ben Morganroot battling. The weight has been brought down on his car to 1120. The others carrying 1220 kilograms base weight. He's 100 kilograms lighter with the 4-rotor Mazda, but not quite seem to be on the pace here today. Trying very hard, but not there. And maybe just that 3.4 of a second slower than he'd want to be. Obviously going to have to be doing something.
And just what Basil's talking about there, the different weights of the cars. They have controllers for this form of racing as we watch Peter Lindenberg exiting Goodyear corner then. powering it up to the S's. What they do, the controllers can add weight or subtract weight in the motor cars depending on your positions in previous races. They can also adjust the intake to your turbochargers, and they say 2mm can make anything up to 100 horsepower, a difference in the performance, and they can adjust the width of your tires. And all credit to these controllers that you can't have it much closer than you got it in front, as we see Steve Wyndham going into the lead in Class C in the Works Toyota, previously driven by Anthony Taylor. The car prepared by Roger Taylor, well-known tuner on the West Rand, and he's got Dave Repsol right on his tail. As Cyril van der Merwe thunders through the start-finish, he's now still got Terry Moss right on his tail. Aberdeen is there, and so is Ben Morgan. But this is a big battle going on.
Yes, and we just see that Cyril van der Merwe has just broken the lap record by 0.02 of a second, 1:37.694, and he's just broken the lap record. So Roger, as they're out there, they're really having a full go. There we see Steve Wyndham, who's had a miserable weekend, a lot of clutch problems in the first heat. He did 2 laps, and him and George Besaidnout had to come in together, and they were both out of that race the first heat. He's come from the back of Class C, and he's gone right through and into the lead, just showing what talent he has. A very smooth driver is a Steve Wyndham coming through. As we see coming out of Gestetner is Steve Wyndham, and he's still got the Automark car of Dave Repsol in second place right there. And there's George Besaidnout in the Nissan. George Besaidnout in the Nissan Sentra, going very well in Class C. He's in 3rd position, and he's also come from the back of the grid and doing very well indeed. Yeah, they come into Nashua corner. George Besaidnout at this stage, he's a little bit behind. He's 2.5 seconds behind Stevie Wyndham. Repsol, 2 of a second behind Wyndham. There's nothing in it as they went through it past us. But here comes Cyril van der Merwe in the Cecil Ford Mustang through AA Bowl, around one of the slower cars. And there's Terry Moss. He's still there. Terry Moss is fighting. He's trying to hang in there. The gap now maybe 50 meters as they're coming towards AA Sweep, and they're heading towards Gestetner. And Terry goes off. Terry Moss goes off, and he just clips a wall. I mean, that was close. He went off. That's a dangerous corner. They flat out when they come through AA Sweep. They come through AA Sweep, and that wall seems to get closer and closer to you, and you could see Terry Moss just missed it as he got back onto the circuit. He settled the car down, and some brilliant driving here to get the car back settled and through Gestetner.
Not only that, Basil, I mean, his mind, he's got to get it right so quickly, and he seems to have done it, just forgotten all about that. It was so close. Here they come through that Caltech Sweep, and Terry Moss is on the grass. He just didn't miss the dirt. He just kept off the dirt, and he just missed those tires. That is very, very close to being a total disaster for that Rothmans Audi. There's Aberdeen coming through in 3rd position, seeing his teammate having quite a moment there as Cyril goes on his way. And Moss has lost none of his aggression of wanting to get right into Cyril's tail. It was 1.4 seconds at the end of the last lap. We've got past the halfway stage as they get into more of these Class D cars, these little 1400s, which go around the circuit still very, very quickly indeed. So Moss is pouring it on there, keeping Cyril inside as they start climbing the Rothmans Hill up into the Wesbank shelf. They're coming up on a nice little car, the Jackson's Delta Opel there of Patrick Seddon. He comes all the way up from Queenstown as Cyril goes round him. So, and Terry seems to be getting closer. It was 1.4 seconds the last time, and Terry seems to have really given him a big wake-up call, and it seems to have done wonders for him. He's getting away from Aberdeen, and he's starting to close on Cyril. So whether Cyril's tires are going off or not, we don't know. He's on Goodyears, and the Audis are on Dunlop tires as they pour it on through the Caltech Sweep here. Moss careful this time. Still Moss, still Aberdeen in the picture. Here's some of those Class D cars. They're coming up, and Ray Wolford, former champion, that Class little white car on the right-hand side. C52 is Neville Tillman. Normally he keeps his racing here at Kyalami as Cyril comes rushing past. So does Terry Moss. Driving like a champion. He's the reigning champion in this class. Cyril van der Merwe has now gone to the top of the points table and is leading the Wesbank Modified Saloon Car Championship. For the first time he's ever done it, and he's never won a Saloon Car Championship in South Africa. He's won 11 rally titles. He's a legend in rallying, and he wants to really do it this year. He's got the right equipment. He loves that V8. He certainly pedals along to good effect.
Yes, it looks like Terry Moss is just dropping back slightly. The car's sliding around a little bit. Maybe he's overcooked the tyres. But Terry Moss, typifying all these drivers in Class A in this Wesbank Modified Saloon Series, you just see him, he got into trouble. He nearly hit the wall. He came straight back. He didn't hesitate, showing a lot of courage. And this is what it's all about. These fellows, they're out there to race, and they're racing hard. As we see, through comes Leon Skeepers. But Leon Skeepers and young Wolford. Skeepers and Wolford coming through, and Patrick Seddon now about to be overtaken by is this the Telstar. Yes, this is Robbie Smith in the Telstar, the Cecil Telstar, as he comes through the Rothmanesses up towards up the Rothmans Hill, up towards Wesbank, and he goes past Patrick Seddon, the man from Queenstown, in the Opel Cadet, into Wesbank. And again, here comes Robbie's down Wesbank, going to come down the Caltex mine shaft, down towards Aveline Sweep and into AA Bowl. He's at this stage, he's about 19 seconds behind the leader, but driving very hard. The Telstar not seeming to be as competitive as it was earlier, and who knows, maybe there'll be a few adjustments made to the rules to get Robbie closer. But here comes the leader, and it's Aberdeen. He's challenging Terry Moss. He's caught up. Terry Moss certainly not going as quickly as he was. We see Sarah van Merwe having done another quickest time, broken lap record once again. He's brought it down to 1:37.613. That's a new lap record, second time this race that Sarah has broken the lap record. Terry Moss holding on to his second place, but Chris Aberdeen now really putting a lot of pressure on his Rothmans Audi teammate, Terry Moss. As Moss goes wide, Moss lets him through. Moss lets Aberdeen through as they go through Goodyear Sweep, obviously having problems or the tyres going off, and he decided that it's better for Aberdeen to chase Van der Merwe than himself.
And he's just got a lap and a half to do it if he's going to make any dent on the progress of Cyril van der Merwe. He's got a lap and a half to do it. He might do it. Cyril seems to have cooled it a wee bit after breaking the lap record, but he might just have cooled enough for Aberdeen, who's been watching the show from third position, could just maybe close up. Maybe it's a little bit late. There's a lap and a half, as I say, to go onto the Wesbank shop. Big crowd up there. And these are very, very advanced machines. If they took all the restrictions off these Audis, they'd just vanish down the road. With open the restrictors, and they've got four-wheel drive and very, very sophisticated. They won the championship in America. In fact, one of the Hunchtook cars is racing, unfortunately waiting for repairs for Larry Wolford at the moment. Right, Aberdeen, let's have a look. Is he getting any closer? He's certainly trying. Right, we'll just watch them as they get closer here. We'll see what the gap is. Remember, it was 1.7 seconds with a lap to go now. As they come down the Kyalami main straight, is 1.7 seconds. The gap between first and second, we'll tell you what it is right now. It's 1.4. He's down 0.3. Hasn't got enough time to do it. Terry Moss sportingly moved over. Maybe his tyres have gone off. He's overheated them. We're seeing temperatures absolutely soaring inside that motocross because they run pretty hot, these cars. But Aberdeen is giving it a full go. Sorrel makes one sort of slip, Aberdeen is going to be in there. But what an impressive machine. Went to East London, won its first two races, gave Ford their first win in something like 7 years down at Kyalami 2 weeks ago, to the great delight of all the Ford fans down there. And Aberdeen shared the wins with him at that meeting. And here's Sorrel now with Aberdeen. Is not giving up. He is trying as hard as he can. Aberdeen, of course, won the World Cup Porsche race here at Kyalami, used to turbocharged cars. He's got a long history of championships behind him and class wins. Very talented driver. It's going to be too late. As he gets into the slow traffic, Sorrel gets through. He's on George Bezuidenhout's tail. George is sitting in third position in Class C. Anything can happen. It's up to Bezuidenhout. Now he stays out of his way. Is Aberdeen going to make it down to the Celtic sweep before them? Yes, he is. He comes around. Looks like it's Maunder coming in there, 77. It's Moon Daly in that little Toyota. And here they're coming now for the line. And it's do or die there for Aberdeen. He's got nothing to lose at the moment. He's closing up, getting it sideways. And when you're getting one of those Audi sideways, you're really trying. And he's closed right up. He drives those four wheels onto the ground. He's pouring on, going to the line. It's not enough, though. Cyril van der Merwe, it was 1.4 seconds. He comes across the line, and Aberdeen is just on... it opened up with that other traffic to 1.7 seconds as he came through the line. Terry Moss comes through a very sporting third. Ben Morgenroot screams for in fourth position. Then it's Robbie Smith. And all the Class A cars that started finished here today. First, Cyril van der Merwe in the Sasol Ford. Aberdeen and Moss in the Rothmans Audi, second and third. Ben Morgenroot in the Sasol Mazda. Robbie Smith, Sasol Ford. Willie Hepburn in that big Sabre at Opel, winning Class B. Steve Wyndham, seventh, winning Class C in the Works Toyota Sprinter. Dave Repsold in the Automark Sprinter. Ninth was George Bezuidenhout in the Nissan Sentra. And Charles Wilkin, once again, 10th position overall, winning Class D in the little 1400 or 1300cc Toyota Sprinter.
It certainly ended a lot better than it looked this morning, but we had a good day and the car worked very well. And we're happy.
Leading the championship now, leading Ben didn't, had a very unfortunate day. Leading the championship now, looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yes, I think it's still going to be tight because I'll probably be handicapped again. I think other people will start whining. So we'll see. I think it's going to be competitive, but the whole season has been competitive.
Wesbank hopes you've enjoyed the action at AA Kyalami, and thanks AA Racing.